I'd like to think so too, because she sounds fantastic.
I don't recognise her. You know, it's like it's me and it's not me. I look at that and I think, oh, but that skirt was spot on. That was how I visualised that skirt.
Well, let's take it bit by bit, and let's start with that skirt. That is a perfect description of a piece of clothing that you hit the year on the nose, and it was only around for 3 years.
Well, I wouldn't know that. I mean, I never did history. You know, I didn't do history O-level, history A-level. I don't particularly watch historical films. I mean, obviously you watch costume dramas on the television, but I wouldn't have known that. If you'd have paid me £1 million on Millionaire, I wouldn't have known that. The bustle, sort of bustle thing.
So you say you don't know very much about the Victorian era itself, but you do go into great detail about propagation and about horticulture and about farming. I take it from the look on your face that
It's surprising, yes.
that's not something you know very much about.
I have got a very small garden in North London, which is basically a cat litter. You know, the other half mows the postage stamp style lawn, that's it. I got gardeners in to do it, you know, when I first moved in, and that's it. That's all we've ever done. Did a bit of weeding, and I'm sure I've pulled up as many plants as weeds. Mrs Titchmarsh, I ain't.
So you haven't read books on propagation, and you don't know anything about that?
No, I thought it was faintly rude, but...
What about the conservatory? Did you know that the conservatory was a Victorian invention?
No, I didn't, and I haven't got one. So it's not something I felt drawn to, so no, I didn't know that.
And what did you think of Miranda herself?
Miranda was amazing because in my real true life, as real as it gets when I'm not watching soaps, I feel quite common. You know, I often feel like if I go to a grand place, I'm the one sort of feeling I've got to sort of be very over the top to compensate for me feeling they're going to say, not you. I'm very not grand, I think, in myself, but when I was Miranda, it just felt physically I was a lot taller. I was very stately, and I felt different in my body is all I could describe it as. And I was quite embarrassed watching it back because I was calling her dear. You know, it was like this sort of
Pardon,
haughty.
dear, you said?
It was just a bit embarrassing that I felt I was being a bit haughty, and I was a lady. I don't know if it's aristocracy, but I was a lady of position in society, and that's something I've never had any...
Well, you said things like, I had a certain reputation.
Well, I probably have now, but not in the same way.
So what sort of a person are you?
Well, I'm a bit gobby. I cover up shyness by talking very quickly and a lot. I think I'm very emotional. I'm not interested in the sort of things she was interested in. I don't think I'm that serious-minded. In some ways, I am in other ways. And emotionally, I think I'm very open. And I think she was almost like the flip side. You know, if you had two sides to a coin, she'd be the flip side of me. I mean, she was, you know, very old, aristocratic lady. I think it was this idea about being a lady. I've never been a lady in that sense. Yes, it is a bit like that. I don't know. It was quite extraordinary.
So when you'd been Miranda for an afternoon and you left Andrea's room, how did you feel? What was your take on it?
I wasn't cynical because it felt so real for me, and the emotions of Miranda, it just felt like the most vivid dream or something. And if it was that dream, why did I make up that dream? But then I started sort of going into it psychologically and thinking, was it on some subconscious level, some people-pleasing, that you go with a narrative? It didn't feel like that, but I felt a bit embarrassed the next day thinking, what have I done? You know, I've laid on a bed in front of strangers, you know, I've been filmed, and you come up with this complete creation. Have I made it up on some subconscious level?
All right, then, well, for the minute, thank you very much. You've now heard what Tina thinks, but what do you make of it all? Was Tina really seeing a past life, or was it something else? Here's what our experts think.
In her regression, Tina is acting in the way she thinks a Victorian lady would speak. Maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not. The fact of the matter is it's acting. It's all acting. She may not be consciously acting, but her subconscious mind is acting out a particular role.
When Tina's talking about the house, sounds very much like it's something out of kind of Country Life magazine, and I think that's a bit of a big clue. We're actually dealing here with something that's an aspiration. It's not real life. It's something that maybe part of Tina would actually aspire to, but it's not reality. It's not a real past life.
What you see in Tina's regression is a classic example of someone taking on the demeanour, the characteristics, and the voice even of the character they are in a past life. And also, her way of being quite reserved as well was very in keeping with the lady that she was.
Well, whatever your take on it, Tina seems to have had a vivid and intriguing experience of some kind. So here's that final question. What do you believe? Do you believe that you've been here before?
Yes, I think we've all been here before. That's my intuition, but I can't prove it, and you will never prove it to the sceptics. But it's good enough for me.
All right, Tina, thank you very much. Join us again next time for another chance to explore the possibility that we might have been here before.